Wait, sir!
I can't stay. My daughter needs me. This is goodbye.
The boarding scanner chimed once, and 6 airport security officers stepped in front of Noah Carter before he could lead his daughter onto the jet bridge. At the far end of Terminal B, a woman in a charcoal suit burst out of a private elevator, hair half fallen from its pins, voice breaking across the terminal like glass. "Don't let him leave!" People froze with coffee cups in midair. A baby stopped crying. Even the gate agent stared. Noah didn't turn around. His hand tightened around 8-year-old Ellie's fingers. In her other hand, she held a stuffed rabbit with one missing ear and a boarding pass folded so many times it was soft at the edges. If stories like this hit something human inside you, stay with me, subscribe, like the video, and tell me where this one broke you. Because what happened in that airport did not end at the gate. And the silence that followed changed every life in that terminal. Noah looked at the guard in front of him. "Am I being arrested?" The guard swallowed. "Sir, we were told to stop you." "By her?" Nobody answered. Across the polished floor, heels slamming against tile, the CEO of Aurora Air ran like a woman trying to outrun her own mistake. 3 days earlier, nobody at Aurora Air would have believed Helena Vale could run for anyone. She was the kind of CEO employees only described in lowered voices. Precise, controlled, ice in a silk blouse. The woman who could close a terminal, cut a department, and make it sound like weather. And Noah Carter, widowed ground operations supervisor, father of 1, holder of a salary too small for the life he carried, was the kind of employee people trusted because he had no talent for pretending. He showed up early, stayed late, fixed problems that weren't his, took extra Christmas shifts for men who still had wives at home. He never said much about Lena. He didn't have to. Her picture was still tucked into the inside pocket of his lunch bag, bent at one corner, smiling in hospital scrubs with tired eyes and a hand resting over Ellie's newborn head. Lena had died 2 years earlier from a brain aneurysm no one saw coming. One minute she was making grilled cheese and laughing because Ellie had hidden peas in the dog's water bowl. 12 hours later, Noah was standing in a white hallway holding a paper cup of machine coffee going cold in his hands, while a doctor told him life was cruel in the calmest voice he had ever heard. Since then, Noah had learned the shape of exhaustion. It looked like folding tiny socks at midnight. It looked like smiling when your daughter asked whether dead people still got cold. It looked like sitting in a parking lot after work with both hands on the wheel, because you needed 60 seconds to become a father again before you opened the car door. Aurora Air had been the only thing steady after Lena died. Not generous, not kind, just steady. And steady was enough, until Damien Crest decided Noah was a problem. Damien was Aurora's chief financial officer, polished in that expensive way that made other people feel cheap just standing near him. His smile never reached his eyes. He shook hands like signing ownership papers. Noah had dealt with him only twice before the week everything burned. The first time, Damien forgot his name. The second time, he remembered it because Noah refused to sign a maintenance clearance report. That was a Tuesday night. Rain hammered the roof above Hangar 4. Mechanics moved under floodlights, jackets darkened at the shoulders. Noah stood over a clipboard, reading the part numbers for the 3rd time. "These aren't certified replacements," he said. Across from him, Damien didn't even bother pretending surprise. "They're functional. They're not approved. They'll be approved after installation. That's not how this works." Damien slid the clipboard closer. A storm front is moving in. 3 flights are delayed. Every minute costs money. Sign it. Noah looked up. No. The men nearby went still without meaning to. That was the thing about power. It made silence contagious. Damien smiled a little. You think I'm asking? I think you picked the wrong man. For a second, Damien just stared at him. Then he leaned in close enough for Noah to smell mint and old arrogance. You're a ground supervisor with overdue rent, a dead wife, and a child in public school shoes from a charity bin, he said quietly. Don't confuse inconvenience with principles. Noah's jaw flexed. Damien tapped the clipboard. Sign the clearance. No. The smile left Damien's face. You know what your problem is, Carter? Men like you love dignity because it's the only expensive thing you can still afford. Noah handed the clipboard back. Then keep it. It looks better on you.
Read this as a single-speaker male narration at a natural, normal pace in a James-style cinematic storytelling tone. Preserve the exact English text below. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Because later that same night, Matteo from maintenance found Noah in the records room and closed the door behind him. You need to see this, he whispered. On the screen were transfer reports from the Lena Carter Employee Relief Fund. Noah stopped breathing for a second. The fund had been created after Lena died. She had spent years organizing meal trains and emergency rides for airport staff, the kind of woman who remembered janitors' birthdays and slipped grocery cards into lockers without signing her name. After her funeral, baggage handlers, gate agents, even pilots had chipped in to create a fund for employees in crisis. Lena would have hated the attention. She would have loved the purpose. Now the account was bleeding. Tens of thousands transferred into shell vendors, fake invoices, disappearing reimbursements. The authorizations all routed through executive finance. Through Damien. Matteo looked pale. I found it because a ramp worker's wife got denied emergency help this morning. There should have been enough money to cover her treatment. There wasn't. Noah stared at the numbers until they blurred. A memory hit him so hard it physically hurt. Lena in their kitchen, tying her hair up with a pencil, saying, If anything ever happens to us, promise me one thing. Don't let people become numbers around you. Noah swallowed. Copy everything. You're going to report this. I'm going to bury him with it. What Noah didn't know was that Damien was already moving faster. The next afternoon, Aurora Air hosted a press event in Terminal B for the company's merger announcement. Cameras, investors, local news, banners hanging over the check-in desks like polished lies. Noah hadn't even been scheduled to attend. He was called there by HR 5 minutes before Helena Vale went on stage. Ellie was with him because school had dismissed early for a plumbing issue and daycare had cancelled. She sat on a suitcase near the side wall, swinging her legs, drawing airplanes on the back of an old baggage form, while Noah stood beside an HR manager who wouldn't meet his eyes. Helena took the podium in a cream blazer, voice smooth as cut marble. Damien stood just behind her, hands folded. Something in Noah's chest went cold. Helena welcomed the press, thanked the city, talked about trust. Trust. Then Damien stepped forward, holding a folder. We regret, he said, that on a day meant to celebrate growth, we must also address an internal theft involving the Lena Carter Employee Relief Fund. Noah felt the floor vanish under him. His head snapped toward Damien. Damien looked back with almost bored pity. Helena opened the folder. Her expression changed, not softening, not hardening, just settling into executive certainty. An employee was identified this morning, she said into the microphone. Transferred funds have been traced to personal accounts linked to Noah Carter. Ellie stopped drawing. All around them, the terminal seemed to inhale. Noah actually laughed once, sharp and disbelieving. What? Two security officers stepped toward him. No, he said, louder now. No, that's a lie. Damien lifted printed screenshots, forged bank records, altered timestamps, his work ID, his name. Someone in the crowd whispered, "His wife's fund?" A reporter raised a camera. Helena looked directly at Noah, and whatever tiny chance remained died in her eyes before he could touch it. "Mr. Carter," she said in front of cameras, passengers, employees, and his daughter. "Your badge, please?" Noah stared at her. There are humiliations that wound the ego. And then there are humiliations that reach your child before they reach you. Ellie stood up slowly from the suitcase. "Daddy?" That one word nearly dropped him. He looked at Helena again. "You really believe this? The evidence is in front of me." "No," he said. "The lie is." Her face stayed unreadable. "Security." One guard moved behind him. Another held out a hand for his badge. Around them, phones came up. People recorded. Some pretended not to. Which was worse? Noah unclipped his badge with fingers that suddenly didn't feel like his own. He could have shouted. He could have dragged Damien into the middle of the floor and broken his perfect teeth. Instead, he heard Lena's voice somewhere deep in the wreckage of himself. Not in front of her. So he handed over the badge. The guard took it like it was evidence. And Ellie, small and frozen beside her drawings, watched her father become a public disgrace in under 60 seconds. When they got home that night, she didn't cry. That was what hurt. She sat at the kitchen table while Noah tried to heat canned soup neither of them would eat. He kept burning his tongue because his hands wouldn't stop shaking. Finally, Ellie asked, very quietly, "Did they clap because they were happy you got caught?" Noah turned off the stove. He had been punched before. He had worked through a broken rib at 22. He had buried his wife with dirt still under his fingernails because he came straight from work to the cemetery. Nothing had ever hurt like that sentence. He crouched beside her chair. "Baby, listen to me. I didn't steal anything." She looked at him with Lena's eyes. "Then why didn't anybody stop them?" Noah opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Ellie stared at her hands. "Do I have to stop telling people my mom has a fund?" He shut his eyes. For a second, he could not breathe. Then he pulled her into his arms and held her while she stayed stiff, trying not to feel this too hard, because children always try to make pain easier for adults. "No," he whispered into her hair. "No. You never stop saying her name. Ever." That night, after Ellie fell asleep on the couch, still wearing one sneaker, Noah sat on the floor with Mateo's copied files spread around him and did the math. His savings could carry them 6 weeks, maybe 7. His reputation in the city was dead already, and if Damien could fake theft, he could fake worse. By morning, Noah made his decision. He would send every file to federal investigators, an aviation reporter he trusted, and an attorney in Seattle who owed his brother a favor. Then he would take Ellie and leave before Aurora Air found a way to crush whatever remained. Running didn't feel brave. It felt necessary. When Matteo found out, he cursed so hard he had to walk outside and come back. "You're just going to let them win?" Noah zipped the duffel shut. "I'm going to keep my daughter out of the blast radius. What if the truth comes out?" Noah looked at him, tired to the bone. Truth is slow. Rent isn't. But the truth was already moving. Helena Vale didn't sleep much, even on good nights, and this was not a good night. She went back over the case because something about Noah's face at the terminal had bothered her. He had looked furious, yes, but not cornered, not guilty, wounded. There was a difference, and Helena had built an empire learning the difference. So at 2:14 a.m., still in the office tower above the airport, she opened the archived fund records herself. By 3:02, she found a timestamp conflict. By 3:11, she found a deleted authorization trail. By 3:26, she found an email rerouted into a hidden executive folder 2 years earlier, marked Never Reviewed. The sender was Lena Carter. Helena clicked it open. Her breath caught. "Ms. Vale, I know you're busy, but I need to put this in writing. Damien Kress asked me to sign off on temporary reallocations from the employee relief account. I refused. If anything strange happens with this fund or with Noah's records, please look at Damien first. My husband is many things, stubborn, proud, impossible when he thinks he's right, but he would rather starve than take money meant for someone in pain." There was more. "If I'm ever not around, please remember something. Men like Noah don't ask for help until they're drowning. By the time you notice, it may be too late." Helena read the message 3 times. Lena had sent it the morning she died, and someone had buried it. Helena stood up so fast her chair hit the glass wall behind her. At 4 a.m., she called Damien into her office. He arrived annoyed, not nervous. That told her everything. She tossed the printed email across the desk. He glanced at it once and smirked. "You should have stayed out of the archive." Helena felt something ancient and ugly rise in her throat. "You framed him." "He became useful." "You stole from sick employees." "I redirected dormant funds." "You destroyed a man in front of his child." Damien shrugged. "Then perhaps he should have signed the clearance report." The room went silent. Helena stared at him. "This was because of the parts?" "This was because he forgot his place." For the first time in years, Helena Vale stopped sounding like a CEO. She sounded like a woman ready to break something. "You forged banking records." Damien straightened his cuffs. "And if this goes public, investors vanish, regulators tear us open, your merger dies, and your board asks why their brilliant CEO couldn't control one widower with a conscience." He leaned closer. "Do you know what hurts men like Noah most? Not poverty. Exposure. You can survive on very little, but once your daughter sees the world call you a thief, some part of you never stands straight again." Helena slapped him. The sound cracked through the office. Damien touched his cheek, stunned for half a second, then amused. "There she is." By sunrise, Helena had internal security, outside counsel, and federal authorities moving. By 8:10, Damien's keycard was dead. By 8:17, Noah Carter and Ellie were already in a cab to the airport. Noah wore the same dark jacket from the press event because he hadn't had time to do laundry. Ellie hugged her rabbit and watched traffic slide past the window. "Are we moving forever?" she asked. "For a while." "Are you scared?" He smiled without humor. Constantly. She nodded like that made sense. Kids understood honesty better than comfort. After a while, she said, "Mom used to say leaving angry is different from leaving done." Noah looked at her. When did she say that? When you fought about the dishwasher. Despite himself, he laughed. A real laugh. Small, cracked, but real. Then Ellie asked the question he had been avoiding since yesterday. If the people there say sorry, are we supposed to forgive them? Noah looked out at the runway, silver under morning light. I don't know, he admitted. But forgiving someone and trusting them again are not the same thing. At gate 14, people recognized him. Of course they did. A man from baggage looked away too quickly. A ticketing agent gave him a look so soft it almost undid him. 2 women near the charging station whispered his name. Ellie noticed everything. Noah checked their bags, kept his head down, answered nothing. He had just scanned their boarding passes when the shouting began. "Don't let him leave!" Now, in the stunned center of Terminal B, Helena finally reached him. She was out of breath, mascara blurred, one heel broken clean off. Noah had never seen her look human before. It irritated him that it took catastrophe. Ellie moved half behind his leg. Helena stopped a few feet away, trying to catch air. "Noah, you've done enough with my name." The people closest to them went absolutely still. Helena looked at Ellie first, and that alone told Noah she had learned something. Powerful people always knew where the real witness stood. "I know the truth," Helena said. "Damien forged everything. Federal agents are with him now. The fund theft, the maintenance reports, all of it." Noah said nothing. She took one shaking breath. "I was wrong." He laughed again, but this time it was ugly. "You were public." Her eyes filled. "I know." "No, I don't think you do." He stepped closer, not aggressive, just finished. "You accused me in front of cameras. You let guards take my badge like I'd robbed the dead. My daughter watched strangers record me, while you stood there with a microphone and a clean blazer and all the certainty in the world." Helena flinched. Noah's voice lowered. "Do you know what she asked me last night? She asked if people clapped because they were happy I got caught." The silence around them deepened until it seemed to press against the windows. Ellie pressed her face into his arm. Helena looked wrecked. Good, some furious part of him thought. Let it land. "I found Lena's email," Helena whispered. "The one he buried. She warned me about him. She told me exactly who you were." That hit harder than Noah expected. His face didn't change, but something inside did. "You don't get to say her name, because you finally read what you should have read 2 years ago." "I know." Helena's voice cracked completely now. "I know, but please don't board that plane like this. Not believing everyone still thinks—" "I don't care what everyone thinks." But that was a lie, and they both knew it. Helena reached into her bag with trembling fingers and pulled out a thin envelope. "This was attached to the email. It was scheduled to send later, but never did. It's for Ellie." Noah froze. For the first time since the terminal showdown, his composure slipped. Ellie looked up. "For me?" Helena knelt, slowly, as if approaching something sacred she had no right to touch. "Your mom recorded a message at the hospital. It was backed up to the employee fund server because she was using a work tablet. Damien buried that, too." Noah's chest seized. Ellie looked at him. "Daddy?" He couldn't speak, so he nodded once. Helena handed him the old flash drive. His fingers shook so badly he almost dropped it. A young gate agent whispered, "Use my laptop," and slid it across the counter. Noah inserted the drive. For a second, the screen stayed black. Then Lena appeared. Hospital room. Pale face. Hair wrapped in a scarf. Smile weak but unmistakably hers. Noah made a sound he didn't know a human being could make. Ellie clutched the counter with both hands. On the screen, Lena looked straight into the camera. "Hey, Bug," she said softly. "If you're seeing this, Daddy finally did the thing he hates most and asked for help." A few people in the gate area started crying immediately. Lena kept smiling, but there was pain underneath it. "Ellie, if I'm not there, you listen to me very carefully. Your father is not a loud man, but he is the bravest person I know. One day, the world might be cruel to him right in front of you. If that day comes, don't believe the loudest voice in the room. Believe the man who stayed." Noah covered his mouth. Helena lowered her head. Lena looked slightly off camera, like she was gathering strength. "And Noah, if somehow you're seeing this too, don't teach her to run from people who are wrong. Teach her to walk away from people who refuse to become right. There's a difference." The video ended. Nobody moved. A boarding announcement started over the intercom, then cut out mid-sentence when someone in operations realized what was happening and killed it. Helena stood slowly. "Noah," she said, tears on her face now, with no attempt to hide them. "I can clear your name. Publicly. Right now. I can restore the fund, expose every record, resign if that's what it takes. Just don't disappear carrying what I did to you." Noah stared at the black laptop screen. Then he looked at Ellie. She wiped her cheeks with both fists and whispered, "Mom said, don't run from people who are wrong." He inhaled once, deep and uneven. When he turned back to Helena, something in him was no longer broken. It was sharp. It was steady. And when he spoke, the whole terminal listened. "You want to know why I'm leaving?" he said. Helena didn't answer. Noah's voice carried farther than he intended. "I'm not leaving because your CFO framed me. I'm not leaving because the company tried to bury truth under paperwork. I'm leaving because my daughter just learned something no child should ever have to learn this young." He looked around at the passengers, the employees, the people still holding phones but no longer recording. "She learned that in places like this, a poor man can spend years being honest, and it takes one rich liar 5 minutes to make honesty look like a costume." Nobody made a sound. Noah swallowed hard and kept going. "You're asking me not to leave now because you found the truth. But the truth was there yesterday. It was there when I said no. It was there when my badge hit your hand. It was there when my little girl stood in a crowded terminal and watched her father get treated like a criminal because none of you thought he was important enough to hear before you judged him." Helena's face crumpled. Noah stepped forward one last time. "So no, Helena, you're wrong. You're not trying to stop me from leaving." His eyes filled, but his voice never shook. "You're trying to stop yourself from becoming the kind of person my wife warned you about." The terminal went dead silent. No rolling suitcases, no gate chatter, no coffee machines. Just the soft hum of air moving through vents and the terrible, clean truth standing in the middle of it. Helena broke first. "I already became her," she whispered. Noah stared at her for a long moment. Then something nobody expected happened. Ellie tugged his sleeve. He bent down. She whispered into his ear, hand cupped over her mouth, the way Lena used to do when she wanted to make even ordinary words feel important. Noah listened. Then he closed his eyes, exhaled, and straightened. He looked at Helena. "If I stay, it won't be for Aurora Air. It won't be for you. It'll be so my daughter sees what it looks like when truth doesn't board quietly." A sound moved through the crowd then. Not applause, not yet. Something deeper. Relief, maybe. Or shame finally finding oxygen. Helena nodded through tears. "Then stay and use my microphone." What happened next became airport legend. Helena marched Noah to the central podium in Terminal B, the same one where she had destroyed him. This time, she stood one step behind. She ordered every camera to keep filming. She announced Damien Kress's arrest, the forensic fraud findings, the stolen relief funds, the falsified maintenance clearances, and her own failure to investigate before accusing an innocent man. Then, in front of the same employees, the same press, and many of the same passengers, she said the words powerful people almost never say without choking on them. "I was wrong, and he was right."
Noah didn't smile. He didn't need to. Because Ellie was beside him, holding the rabbit in one arm and his hand in the other. And for the first time since Lena died, he felt like the world had watched him fall and still not managed to keep him there. The fund was restored by noon. By evening, the merger was suspended. By the next week, 3 more executives were under investigation. And a month later, when reporters asked Noah why he hadn't accepted Aurora's offer of a senior role, stock options, and public honors, he gave the only answer that mattered. "My daughter doesn't need a father with a bigger title," he said. "She needs one she can recognize." He stayed long enough to testify, long enough to help rebuild the employee relief program under a worker-led board, long enough to make sure no one could use Lena's name like a polished logo while stealing from people desperate enough to believe in it. Then, one evening, after the final hearing, Noah took Ellie to the observation deck above the runway. Planes lifted into a violet sky, engines roaring like giant hearts. Ellie leaned against him and said, "Do airports still make you sad?" "Sometimes." "Me too." He kissed the top of her head. "That's okay." She thought about that. Then she asked, "Do you think Mom saw what happened?" Noah looked out at the lights stretching down the runway, bright and straight and disappearing into dark. "I think," he said slowly, "she saw you." Ellie smiled through sleepy eyes. That was enough. Some people spend their whole lives waiting for the world to apologize before they let themselves heal. Noah learned something harder. An apology can clear your name, but only truth, spoken out loud while your hands are still shaking, can give you your life back.